The original Robocop was a fantastic movie that spawned a fantastic arcade game. The slick visuals, brilliant soundtrack and effects were a feature of both the film and the game. Robocop 2, however, is a different story entirely. The film was really just a cash grab for Orion, especially when you consider the original story had reached its conclusion. Was there any need for a sequel? And everything about it was just not up to the high standards set by the first one. The main villain, Kane, was nowhere near as threatening or devious as Clarence Bodica. The story was pretty weak, and the once praised satirical look at consumer-focused America was now just making a mockery of itself. So it was difficult to see how you could translate any of this subpar material into a game, but Data East did give it a try. The game had changed quite dramatically from its predecessor, with the play environment now favouring this pseudo 3D environment of modern belt-scroll beat-em-ups. And to try and mix things up even more, you get these shooting alley type scenarios which add very little to the game. It's even debatable if the in-game visuals are improved over the original. I personally think they've taken a step back. The animation on Robo appears to have him sliding across the surface as if he is on a pair of roller skates, and even just the overall look to him is kind of bland. The sprite from the previous game looked superb in comparison. The enemies all seem totally generic as well. You could lift them from this game and drop them into any other beat 'em up and they wouldn't look out of place. Even though this game isn't really a beat 'em up, it's a shooter. It just feels more like a beat 'em up with guns, much in the same way Golden Axe is a beat 'em up with swords. The 3D sections on the motorbike make some good use of sprite scaling, and the stage does convey a good sense of speed. But even that feels like it's just been added in to show a scene from the movie. The backgrounds throughout the game are pretty good, and some of the levels do a good job of trying to recreate sets from the movie, and to be fair, there is a decent amount of detail in them as well. But I do think they missed a trick with this arcade level. It would have been absolutely wicked to see some Dragon Ninja cabinets in there, just like the movie. The stills between the levels are bad. Why did they not use the digitised stills from the movie, like the ones used in the track sequence? And those ones are of a high quality. I hate this kind of digitised graphic, but the stills in this game look absolutely brilliant, and they really did sucker me in when I seen this game in the arcades. The sound effects are almost identical to the original game, but this time around, the sound of the computer bleeping as the cursor displays the text is just super annoying, and I really do wish I could simply just switch that off. The music does not fit the levels for the game, in my opinion. It isn't actually that bad, but these tunes seem out of place to me. But then, that sums up this game perfectly. When I watched the movie, I never noticed the huge amount of zombie type things that Robocop just had to shoot before he met Kane for the first time. Data East using some creative flexibility right there. The gameplay feels really vanilla. It's not a terrible game, but it's far from good. It's just bland, and feels like Data East were obligated to make a video game on the sequel. But you can't make a cake with bad ingredients. And that is exactly what we have here. A dull game from a dull and bad movie. Even the 2-player mode cannot save it. But when seeing the 2-player mode in action, it's good to only have this slight blue tint to the second player. And if you go back and watch the movies, you will notice that the original movie, Robocop, was this kind of silvery, gloss looking machine. And in the sequel, there is more of a blue tint to him. But back to the game. Robocop 2 to me was disappointing. Would it have been disappointing had I not been a fan of the Robocop movie? Would I even have played it if I had not been a fan of the original game? That is hard to say. If you take out the movie references from the game, then I think the desire to see what the next level is just disappears. And if that is the only thing that motivates you to play on, then why would you play on without having seen the movie? The arcade game was not hugely successful for Data East, barely making a dent in their revenue earnings, and failing to get into the top 10 chart of most successful games for 1991. But it served as a reminder that to make a great game based on a movie, you first need a great movie. The Robocop film franchise would not have a better future either, with an abysmal third movie and an even more depressing TV series and cartoon series. Yeah, I mean, whose bright idea was it to release a children's cartoon based on an ultra-violent movie franchise? The Robocop games that would come out based on the third movie were pretty bad as well. But Robocop would get another outing on home console, and this time he would be fighting another Orion movie character from the 80s. But that is a video for another time. And that was my look back at Robocop 2, the video game. If you like this video, then please do give me a sub and a thumbs up, or maybe even a comment or two about your memories of Robocop 2. And a massive thank you as always to all those who have subscribed and commented on my channel. Your feedback and support really does go a long way in helping the channel grow, and I do appreciate all of the feedback and the support. So a massive thank you from me. And that's all from me, folks. Thanks for watching.